So I told you guys that I would make you a video, and here it is. I'm just preparing for the Catalina trip, but I thought of this idea. Is you guys have a bunch of things to help you. You have these flashcards, you have this study guide, and tomorrow Mr. Goodwin's going to give you this thing, which is a bunch of example problems. It's the 27 essential concepts for AP Calculus. It's really cool because it has example problems on there, and it lists all of the concepts that you have, and it has a lot of nice diagrams too that illustrate things nicely. The thing about this packet is that you're going to have to work together, and I'm going to assign groups for you on Friday to work together on this packet to solve these problems. And here's the kicker. So you're going to have your final grade is going to be composed of two things on the final exam. The first one's going to be the practice AP exam we do next week. And on that one, you're allowed to use any of these weapons. So you can use this thing that you're going to be working on together. And next week, you have any questions on this, you can ask me, fill it out, and you can keep using that on your exam. You may use this study guide, and you may also use any of your flashcards. So that's how important it is to know how to use these study tools that I'm going to give your final as 2 AP exams. I'll make a little diagram in a second. But on this first one next week, you're allowed to use any of these tools. And then that way, hopefully you'll get a better understanding of the layout of the whole, so that when you go and take the AP exam, or if you take that second AP exam, all of you will take a second one as your final. And your final grade will be composed of the average of the two. So if you get a 3 and a 5, let's say, or you get a 5 with these tools and you get a 3, then you would have an average of 4, which is 94%. But this first practice exam, you're allowed to use any of these things. That composes 50% of your final exam grade, and the second 50% will be composed of how you do without these tools. So next week, that's your incentive. And I'll make a little diagram real quick right now so that you can have an idea, a visual of how this is going to work as well. So here's that diagram that I was talking about. So we have 2 practice exams, 1, 2. This first one, which we'll do next week, you'll be able to use all of these weapons, your flashcards, your study guide, 27 example problems, and even anything you write on there on the sheet, that would be fine. You could use any of these things to score as well as you can on that exam. So let's say you scored a 5 on that one, and then on this second exam that we'll take the following week, this will be after the AP test. It'll be your final exam. You have no weapons except your brain, and you can study for this one longer if you need more time, but I recommend taking it right as soon as you've been studying for this one. You'll probably do the best on the second one as well. In the past, when students delay it and keep putting it off, they tend to forget a lot of things. So this one, you're only allowed to use your brain, and let's say on that one, you didn't remember something, so you get a 3, so your average score would be a 4, and we talked about a 3 being a 90%, 4 being 95%, and then a 5 being 100%. So if you got a 4, you would end up with a 95% on your final exam. We'll have to figure out next week what a 1 or a 2 would qualify as, but don't assume that if you get a 1, then this 5% decrease means that you would automatically get an 80% on the final. It doesn't, but I'll let you know next week. We can figure out what to do about that. So then the second thing is that this looks like it started glowing, but here are your groups to work on this 27 concepts packet. You can solve the problems and then take notes. You guys can ask each other, but I need you to sit in these groups, so Mr. Goodwin will enforce that. But you can turn to other groups and say, hey, did you guys get this one? In number 5, I can't seem to figure out this problem. And then once Clement's done with his AP test, you guys can ask him questions too. And then study over the weekend, filling out those 3 weapons that you have, and making sure that you're familiar with where everything is so that you can do well on the practice test next week. And as you're to clarify one more time, as you're taking the exam next week, every day you're welcome to ask me questions, and I will help you to build your study guides and make them even more thorough. So if there's any part of the study guide that doesn't make sense, or you remember a problem on the AP test and you're like, I couldn't find where this was, um, I can help you with that as well, because the point of next week is to learn how to use these study tools so that you can use them over the following weekend to prepare for the AP exam or your final. All right, good luck, guys, with this activity, and good luck studying over the weekend, and say some prayers that we're all safe on Catalina Island, and especially that we have a great time out there.